Greetings, boys and girls. You are listening to the Lament Configuration, which one very kind person on YouTube commented to say that we are very polite British voices talking about horrific movies. And I think that's very appropriate. It's a reminder to like, subscribe, and leave comments because it helps the algorithm and all that. My name is Greg Knox, and I'm joined once again, as always, by Fend.
Hello, Greg. Thank you. Yes, that's a very kind comment. I'm not sure how polite I am. I am a northerner, but thank you very much. And we're back, and we are darker than the charred remains of the Wicker Man.
Yeah, indeed. Or in fact, any kind of ashes or remains of any burnt objects, I guess. But yes, very
or
dark
people.
Indeed. Yes. So yes, you are listening to Lament Configuration. This is our third episode since we have come back. Really enjoyed doing the 2 episodes we've done so far. And we've got a really, really fun episode in store for you today. We are talking about Italian zombie movies that are on the Section 3 list. So if you don't know, these are video nasties that are not quite disreputable enough to be Section 2, but they were still thought of as bad in some way, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, probably the poster that led them to make that decision. That's one of the things that we've concluded about some of these films.
Yes, exactly. But before we get on to that, we have our new regular segment where, Ria, you know, what have you been watching at the cinema?
I mean, are you going to contribute? Because, you know, you need to up your game here, Greg.
I do. I really do need to. But I haven't been to the cinema since we last recorded. So it is entirely Ria, kind of your contributions.
What have I been watching? Well, I have seen a fair few things since we last recorded. I have seen some not very good horror movies.
Oh, dear.
And a couple of excellent ones.
Cool.
So, I mean, arguably this is not a horror movie, but I did see Megan 2.0.
Right.
It's a thumbs down.
That one of the good ones or not?
Not
No,
good.
okay.
Not good. Didn't like it. Quite liked the first one.
Right.
Quite enjoyed that. Sequel? Oof. Yeah, not sure what you're doing there, Blumhouse.
Yeah, and then Jason Blum has come out. He's tried to kind of, you know, damage control and say like, well, we thought they would be more popular than it was, and we didn't anticipate our audience and all this type of stuff. It's just... yeah, it's a weird one. It just feels like I think they maybe over-anticipated kind of how popular the character was, and they changed it too much.
They changed it way too much. It feels like Terminator 3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But with, you know, female doll. And, I mean, if you watch the trailer, all the best bits of the movie are in that, including the line, hold on to your vaginas or something like that. So if you just watch that, you may as well just save yourself the time.
There you go. Did Megan say that, by the way?
Yeah,
okay, so,
of course.
All right.
Bit of Megan sass, you know, that's probably the best bit. So,
and it was last night, in fact, as we were recording this, that you watched the brand new I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes, I saw I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it was terrible. I thought it was terrible. I mean, the first one isn't my favourite movie, but it's nostalgic. It's of its time, 1997.
Yeah, it's got like, you know, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. and like all those people. It's very of its time. And yeah, it's kind of like Scream, but not as good.
Yeah, much prefer Scream. It didn't do it any justice. It's the usual kind of guess who the killer is, and
right.
It's just not really believable. Like, I wasn't really buying it. Like what happened with the plot, and yeah,
is
not
it
great.
better than I Still Know What You Did Last Summer?
I don't think I ever saw that one, so I couldn't comment.
Oh, you missed out. Big time.
I don't think I love this franchise enough, basically. Freddie Prinze Jr. was okay in it.
Right.
Yeah, that's about it.
Fair enough. But there were good films that you saw, though.
So the good films that I saw were actually 28 Years Later, which I thought was phenomenal. Definitely want to give that a revisit. It was awesome.
Mm.
And Bring It Back by the Filippo brothers, of who you know I am a huge fan. And this film I saw as a preview on Cineworld Secret Screaming.
Right.
So it's not actually out yet, but it is absolutely amazing.
Awesome. Yeah. So I did want to watch that. It's been out in America, but it only comes out here fairly soon.
Yeah, probably about another week. But
Okay.
I managed to get an early viewing, and yeah, it absolutely blows your socks off. Let's put it that way.
Wow. Okay. And All right, anything else that you recommend? So, yeah, I mean, both 28 Years Later and Bring Her Back are films that I would like to see, as well as Weapons when that comes out.
Yeah.
That's in a few weeks.
Just those two, which were solid. I'm looking forward to Weapons, Together, and Him, which is the new Jordan Peele one.
Cool. Yeah. So all that sounds great. You're right. I do kind of need to get my act together. I haven't really been to the cinema that much, although we are going to Fright Fest.
We are.
And I think by the time we record next, or it might be just before, we're going to be watching 2 films at Fright Fest. So we could talk about those on the show.
We could do. Sadly missed out on the new Toxic Avenger movie.
You were very upset about that.
I was very upset about. I really wanted to get a ticket for that, but it must have sold out in like literally 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I was shocked when you told me about this.
So, yeah, I mean, it's got, some A-list celebs in it, so probably that's why, but damn, I wanted to go.
Cool. Tune in next time to see more of like what mostly Rhea, has been watching at the cinema.
Oh, I just wanted to actually do a quick shout out. So I've also paid a visit to Bar Trash in London, which is run by someone on Instagram. His username on Instagram is Token Homo, Richard. And I've seen things like John Waters' film Serial Mom there, which I watched this month. And it is an excellent LGBTQ friendly, LGBTQ aimed horror night and generally weird and banned films or out of print movies at various locations around London, Genesis Cinema being one of them. So massive shout out to Bar Trash with Richard, because I absolutely love attending their events. And also a brand new Grindhouse cinema that's opened in London in Farringdon called The Nickel, which is run by Dom. And I went to see a fair few movies there over the last month. One weird Thai movie called Dog God, which was incredibly strange and interesting. I went to see a classic, Spider Baby. I went to see The Sadist, Caliber 9, amongst other movies. And the cinema is 37 seats, so it's only small, but it's super friendly. It's really cool, and you get to see tons of stuff that you just wouldn't see anywhere else. So highly recommend. So shout out to Dom.
Yeah, I will have to make a visit to both of those at some point.
Oh, you definitely should. Like, it's right up your street. You're going to love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, some of those films, like, I definitely, like, if I didn't live miles and miles away, I probably would go to London a lot more. It's just a bit difficult because I live in the sticks, basically. So, yeah.
Oh, you're definitely going to pay a visit to those at some point. It's well worth the journey.
I promise, Scout's Honour. I will definitely do that. Absolutely. Cool. So we are here to talk about 2 Italian zombie films, our Section 3 video nasties. Before we talk about the first one of those, I thought we'd do a little segment where we talk about the history of zombie films, because I think these films are both quite interesting in kind of how they relate to the history of the zombie film as a whole. And we'll kind of talk about that as the show goes on. But just to give a little bit of context. So the zombie film started in the early 1930s, a film called White Zombie. And really, zombie films at this time were mostly voodoo-related zombies. So they were set in the West Indies, and there'd be Haitian voodoo-related zombies. So yeah, it would be White Zombie. I Walked with a Zombie as another one. Really like that film. And also the Hammer film Plague of the Zombies, rather, which is the same kind of idea, but that's set in England. That's obviously not set in the Caribbean. And then post-World War II, it moved so that the person creating the zombies is now like a mad scientist. So you had movies like The Frozen Dead, Astro Zombies, and also films like Plan 9 from Outer Space, where the person creating the zombie is from outer space, believe it or not. Hence, it makes sense. And then, obviously, you get Night of the Living Dead, George Romero, absolute classic film, 1968, which is then, okay, zombies are now people who have come back to life, they bite someone, you will then become a zombie yourself. That type of thing. Zombies caused by radiation, which is very interesting when we talk about the next film. And now you think at that point, okay, we now have a formula, we've got a successful film, surely people will start ripping this off. But no, it's actually very interesting because you've got all these different kind of types of zombie film between 68 and 78. So, for example, you'll have films where there's a small group of zombies, films like Tombs of the Blind Dead or Shockwaves, where there's, a small group of zombies, they kill people, those people are just dead. They don't turn into zombies themselves. You get films even with just one zombie. So Bob Clark's Death Dream, which is a film that I really like, is where there's just one zombie and that's it. And then you get films where the zombies aren't really they are zombies, but they're more like vampires than zombies, where you get films like Messiah of Evil and Let's Scare Jessica to Death, where there's a head vampire that turns people into zombies. But they, like I said, they behave more like vampires, so they want to drink blood, for example, which is very interesting. And then you get films like Shivers or The Crazies or I Drink Your Blood, where there are zombies, but they're not like the living dead. These are people who are alive and they become infected with something and then they act like zombies. So they don't think for themselves. They go a bit crazy, start trying to kill people, that type of thing. And then there is, of course, the one exception to this, which is Ria's favourite, Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, where it's the only one of the time that really kind of follows the formula of the Romero zombie films, where, you've got something that's unnatural / man-made that's creating the zombies. They're coming back to life. They are killing people, and then the people they're killing are then becoming zombies themselves, and they're gut munching, and there's an outbreak and all this type of stuff.
And those are the slow shuffling zombies as well. Yes,
they're all slow for the most part. There's a couple of exceptions, like I Drink Your Blood, because they're rabid. So obviously, if you've got rabies, you aren't going to be shuffling. But yeah, for the most part, you're right. Yes, these are slow shuffling sort of dead people. And then, of course, you get Dawn of the Dead, which is really where all kind of modern zombie films kind of come from. Essentially, that's the one. And with the Romero films, you've got all the subtext and all the kind of political and sort of social themes that are going on in there, which the others just don't really have for the most part. And from there, obviously, that was very successful. You then get zombie flesh eaters, which we've talked about on the show, along with other films like, Zombie Creeping Flesh and, that type of thing. So,
all your rabies infected zombies brings you right up to 28 years later now, which is rage, because they're actually, they say that they're not zombies.
Yes. It's very interesting that you've mentioned that, believe it or not. But yes, 28 days later, which obviously 28 years later, there's the whole, are they actually zombies or not?
And the film creators would say no. They always say no. So,
which brings us very nicely, in fact, to the first one I'm going to talk about today, which is Nightmare City. And it's welcome back once again for the second show in a row to Umberto Lenzi.
Oh, yeah.
So in 1980, he was very busy. So he obviously made Eaten Alive, which we talked about in the last show. And he also made this film, which is Nightmare City. Nightmare City, also known as City of the Walking Dead in America. But it's called Nightmare City everywhere else. As I said, came out in 1980. And Ria, why don't you tell us the story, the synopsis of, I
will. I mean, first of all, great title. I actually really like the title. But yeah, the synopsis. An airplane exposed to radiation lands and blood-drinking zombies emerge armed with knives, guns and teeth. They go on a rampage, slicing, dicing and biting their way across the Italian countryside. I mean, who would not watch this? This epic logline.
Yes. So a couple of interesting things to note before we kind of start talking about the film itself. So the main actor in this film is a Mexican actor. His name's Hugo Stiglitz, who has been in other films, but this is his most well-known role. And why I mention this is one of the people who's a really big fan of this film is Quentin Tarantino. And he has talked about this in interviews. And in fact, he is such a big fan of this film that there is a character in Inglourious Bastards called Hugo Stiglitz.
Nice.
Who is played by Til Schweiger. So he's one of the Nazi hunters.
I did not know that. That's really
cool.
No,
neither did I.
Little cool factoid there.
Yes. So before I introduced the film, I talked about things like, 28 Days Later created Fast Zombies. And the director, Danny Boyle, he would probably say, well, they're not zombies, they're rage-infected people. Yeah. Umberto Lenzi is one of the people who would tell you, and in fact, he apparently did this to Quentin Tarantino, that these are not zombies. How dare you call these people zombies? They are, in fact, radiation-infected people.
Yeah, which it does tell you several times through it, which I really enjoyed. I mean, there's exposition in this movie, but it's actually quite sort of well-placed and elegantly put. And with the English dub over the top of it, it's like sometimes it just sounds way too posh for what they're actually trying to put across there. And in a lot of ways, this reminded me of the Toxic Avenger as a concept,
right?
But not with one toxic person, not with just Toxie. It's like a whole fucking army.
A lot of Toxies,
yeah, because they've got the face, it's almost like Toxie's face.
Yeah,
for anyone who's a fan of trauma, such as myself. Shout out to Lloyd Kaufman.
Yeah, of course, every time. So I guess that kind of brings two questions. So basically, this is the first film to have running zombies in it.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So before this, the zombies were shuffling, if they were kind of recently reanimated, obviously, because look, they're dead. So it's like their brain's not working properly. Or in the case of other films, they're not really zombies, they're just infected with something or other. I guess the question that I have, a good point to start on this is, in your opinion, are these zombies or are they not zombies?
I think that these are not zombies.
Right.
But I mean, that's kind of a running theme through this episode. This is our Italian zombies episode, and I don't really think any of them are zombies.
Yeah, which is very curious because I agree with you. I don't think they are zombies because literally in the first 10 minutes you have a quote unquote zombie firing a machine gun at someone, which is
I mean, I had a great time watching this movie. Thank you, Lindsay. This was for sure, it's action-packed. I mean, there's a lot going on here. It's very well shot. It's, it's quite pretty to look at. And the music is badass. The soundtrack's phenomenal. It's cheesy, but it's amazing at the same time.
Yeah, so the soundtrack is formed by Silvio Cipriani, who, going back to our Video Nasty days, so he did the soundtrack for Bay of Blood, and he's done all kinds of Italian sort of giallo and exploitation-y type films. And yeah, the score to me is the best part of the film. It's really awesome. There's the main theme, which is a real kind of earworm. It really gets in your head, and then there's kind of variations from that kind of as it goes on. Yeah, I agree. They're not zombies. There's a lot of them. Obviously, the first 10 minutes of this film is hilarious. So you've got our main character, who is Dean Miller. He is a reporter, and he has been asked by his boss because there has been a nuclear outbreak, or there's been a radioactive fallout at a nuclear power plant. There's a professor flying in, and he has been sent out to interview him. There is a plane that lands at an airport, and obviously Dean Miller is there to interview the professor, and then all these kind of infected people come out of this plane and they kill so many people in the space of about 5 minutes. It's hilarious.
Oh my God, yeah. And it's so funny, like I said, about the sort of eloquent English dub, where Miller just goes, "I don't believe it." And it's yeah, I mean, that's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
Probably my reaction would probably be a bit more extreme than that.
And I love it because none of the infected people attack him or his cameraman. They just go after all the police and the military people at the airport. It's just, yeah.
It's chaos. I mean, this entire film, you can't really take your eyes off it. There's just so much going on.
Yeah, so this is an Umberto Lenzi film. So if you listen to our last show, first of all, thank you very much if you did. And if you didn't, please go back and listen to it. Lenzi loves in the first half of his films just to throw a million things at you. It's just here's all this stuff, and then it kind of calms down a little bit. So I'd say halfway through. And this is, I think, his most kind of deranged film in that way. At least that from memory anyway, because so much happens in the first half of this film. There's a whole attack, I say, at an airport. Then there's an attack at a TV studio.
Yeah. Oh my God, I loved it. It went straight from that plane attack to an 80s dance interlude in blue leotard. And I was like, oh, this is just the perfect balance. Like,
it's so like
and
so cheesy, isn't
the
it?
TV show, it's like, this is how they choose. Because bear in mind, back then in the 70s, you had like what? Between 2 and 4 channels, probably
Yeah.
3 channels, I think you had at that point. And it's like, well, that's how they choose to fill the airtime with this show called It's All Music, which is probably really badly translated from something cool in Italian. And every video nasty should have this 80s dance interlude. It was just so satisfying.
Yeah.
And I just knew that they were going to be like, you know, just disposable humans for the future. So I was like, oh, yes, we're waiting for that.
Yeah. It also kind of reminded me of The Substance.
Yeah.
Like, not the film itself, but more what Sue is doing. Like the show that she's on, where she's just her and a bunch of other attractive people just dancing and gyrating like to music.
So a lot of stuff in this film reminded me of like Toxic Avenger meets The Substance because, yeah, it's like the whole TV channel thing. And then the fact that it was radioactive kind of reminded me of the substance that she was taking and how mutated she got at the end as well. For fans of The Substance.
Yeah, the plot isn't really like The Substance, but I agree there are kind of aspects of this film that are similar to The Substance.
Similar themes. It's almost like it could have inspired little parts of The Substance.
Sure, Coralie was like, yeah, I'm going to watch Nightmare City. Yeah, sure. And then, get inspired. Wasn't so much a fan of the makeup in this film, if I'm being honest. A lot of it, I don't know if it's because there's like so many infected people that they have to kind of, make up, so to speak. Some of them it just looks very ropey kind of makeup.
Yeah. I mean, part of me enjoyed how basic it was, that it didn't sort of try hard and that it's obviously, now we use loads of CGI, but it was obviously practical effects, but it is a little bit ropey. I don't really know what it's supposed to look like burnt kind of. Yeah, it's just like brown crusted face, but it's
it
not
looks like
that effective.
Some of the people just look like they're wearing like a mud pack.
Yeah.
It's just just not that convincing, really.
Yeah. I mean, some parts of it were a little bit scary. Like, I think there were some parts like closer to the end where they had special heads to shoot off and blow up. And those are like pretty spectacular, but they knew that they were going to do a close-up of that, so they'd obviously worked on it.
Yeah, sure. Now, like Eaten Alive, Mel Ferrer is in this film very randomly, and he has more of a role to play, although it's very interesting. He only seems to have been shot in one location. So I wonder if like his parts were only filmed in one day. Now he plays General Murchison, who is, he's kind of the head of the military. He's kind of there to basically tell the TV kind of station, like, because Dean, he wants to basically kind of show people like, look, this has happened at the airport. There are all these infected people, you've got to be careful, don't go out basically because you might probably get killed. And then that he's like, no, you can't do this, and he's trying to kind of contain it, and like he's got all these exposition scenes where basically he's kind of like explaining like, oh, here's what's actually happening. It's like these people, they're created by radioactivity and you have to shoot them in the head. And all that type of stuff.
I'm loving like how much Miller was taking his job so seriously. He's like saying, I'm a journalist, my job is to keep the public informed. Like he's really serious about it. And
in a democracy, like, you have to allow freedom of the press.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is,
and a few
very pertinent in today's world, I would say.
Yeah, agree totally. And there's a few dodgy New York accents thrown in there. So.
I mean, that's just a lot of the kind of Italian kind of English dubs, because if you watch enough of these films, you'll start recognizing voices. It's like, oh, it's that guy or that woman. It feels like about 4 or 5 people doing everyone's voice, like in these films. It's always quite fun.
I love it how they also said that, like, when they put out the warning, it was like maximum urgency.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I mean, I'd say that's pretty
pretty
high
urgent,
on the emergency scale.
Yeah.
Also, the wife who did the sculptures. Oh man.
Yes.
They're pretty disturbing sculptures.
Yeah, so one of the kind of major characters in the film is Major Warren Holmes and his wife, who's Sheila. Basically, Sheila is doing this sculpture of like a head, and it looks like Lenin. Is it supposed to be like her husband's head that she's sculpting, or
It's
is it
supposed to
Lenin,
be.
or I don't know? It just looked bizarre.
It's supposed to be his head, but it's quite offensive and ugly.
Pretty much, yeah. I love in this film. It's more in the next film, but yeah, it's just random TNA.
Yeah.
Just for no reason. Like, there is actually no plot reason for there to be TNA, but
Yeah.
I never used to, I don't know if it's I've changed or the world's changed, but like stuff like that never used to kind of
Bother you.
not
yeah.
bother me. It doesn't bother me. I just notice it more now.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
feel the exact same. I was like rolling my eyes. I'm like, oh God, here we go again. But it does feel like it's like obligatory in this. It's like there's going to be lots of booze, like whiskey. It's probably going to be J&B because they're in all of these Italian movies.
I didn't spot any J&B in either of these two films, unfortunately.
it
Maybe there
wasn't
was no
J&B.
budget for it.
Yeah, I don't think there was any budget for J&B because like the cool films have the J&B in, but they had the bottles that were like unmarked or they were like turned the other way. So I think the intention was there. They wanted the J&B, they just didn't allow budget. But yeah, it was like, you know, you're going to have whiskey in it, J&B, and you're going to have naked women and lots of boobs in it. And
yeah, there's a lot of,
that.
especially in the hospital scene where women are being killed and like they happen to get their tops ripped open before they get killed. It's just like pretty blatant.
I think both of these movies that we're talking about in this episode have like cutting of the breasts, biting, you know, or like blood sucking of the breasts, or like, yeah, basically hacking breasts off. So yeah, they use it to their advantage in the way of like, you know, the usual TNA, like obligatory part of it. Yeah. And then turn it into horror.
Lindsay loves breast eating. Breast eating seems to be a thing that happens like in all his films. Like someone will have their breast cut off and eaten. And all this.
We've watched it so many times in these movies, it does kind of make me laugh now, but it does feel very like, oh, we've really moved on since then.
Yes. Some random highlights, to me anyway. There's an exploding TV monitor, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's just... So Dean, like he's being attacked at the TV studio, and he just I think it's meant to be a TV monitor. Anyway.
Yeah,
it just blows up into smithereens, like somehow.
It's like erupts into a huge fireball. Like it's amazing.
Yeah. Another one is so this character Sheila. So she's been told you got to lock all your doors, and she's looking outside, and the lawnmower is just on by itself.
Oh yeah.
She's just so random.
Don't know what that was about. It's supposed to be spooky, like a spooky lawnmower.
So bizarre. There's just and like I think Dean as himself is kind of hilarious. He's very serious.
Yeah.
He's almost too serious to the point of being like unintentionally funny. So after he quits his job, like there's a woman on the phone. He just said, "No, get off this phone now. I've got to get on the phone." Call my wife. Or like when he's being attacked, he always does like kicks. He'll like do like these kind of kung fu style kicks.
Oh my God.
It's hilarious.
I didn't notice that part, but one part that a couple of bits I noticed. So they called the whole plan like really late in the film. They're like, "Oh, this is a big emergency, so we need a plan. We're going to call it Emergency Plan H." Well, right, okay. And then they're like, "But if it gets really out of hand, it's like, so this isn't already out of hand enough for you, okay? Plan B is the reserve plan. So Plan H is the first one, and then it's Plan B." Like what? Okay. And then matey boy rings up his wife Sheila. What's he called?
It's Major Warren Holmes. Holmes.
He calls up Sheila, his wife, the sculptress, and she's like, "Oh, hello." She's like, I was in the bathroom doing my hair. And I'm like, "Oh, of course you were. Like, what else do ladies do?" And they're like, you know, a homemaker, and all you've got to do is like your sculptures for your hobby. I was hoping she would have answered the phone and said something more manly, like changing a tire or unblocking the drains. But anyway. I demand a rewrite for this section.
It was 1980 after all.
Yeah, she was doing her hair because she wanted to look nice for him that evening. Great use of time.
Yeah, I actually, and this is a theme across all of these films. And look, I appreciate it was a different time, and I don't want to be one of those people who's kind of like, well, let's put it this way. You can't judge old films by modern standards in a lot of ways. It's just not really fair because society was different back then. But it is quite amusing to me, kind of like how a lot of the female characters just don't really have any agency in these films. Now
they don't really do anything. Like most of them don't have a job, and if they do, it's kind of like almost like a hobby for them.
Yeah, if they have a job, they're not taken seriously at all, or they're kind of patronized by all the men in the film. So Dr. Anna Miller, obviously Dean's wife, so she's, a doctor, she works in a hospital. Yeah. And her purpose in the film seems to be for the screenwriter to kind of explain what the film is actually about, so i.e. nuclear power is bad guys, basically, and to be hysterical and kind of go like, oh, we're all going to die and get slapped. That's another thing. There was a big old, like, calm down woman slap that happens in this film.
There was that one bit where the surgeon's doing some very important surgeon work, and he's like, oh, we've run out of plasma. Go down to the basement and get, like, bottles of plasma, which is basically blood. So off she goes on her own, and it's like, oh, she's just there to just pass him things, really.
I mean, pretty much, but that is kind of what people do. I think that's even the case now. Like, you have one person who's doing the surgery, and then the other people there are just, can you help me out, please? Like, do this now. Like, the person's life's at stake here.
Just wipe the sweat off the brow. But there was a few, like, really cool, like, bits in it, like you say, like set pieces. And there's one quote that I really liked where this guy said, hold your socks on. Quite like that. So it must have been, like, translated really weirdly. There was another bit where in the hospital it said, oh, they're coming in like flies, like all the patients that were like fucked up, and also appreciated like the old 70s American ambulance. It's like it's used as a Ghostbusters car in Ghostbusters. I appreciated that. That was cool. And like the whole stay at home warning just kind of, it had pandemic vibes for me. I was like, oh, I've got to lock the doors and stay home.
Yeah, and not talk to anyone and kind of all that kind of stuff. Although, as always, these characters never do what they're told.
Yeah, she just went out to have a little stroll around the garden with the lawnmower, didn't she, at one point?
yeah, a magical lawnmower. My favourite quote in the whole film that was so funny is there's the general's daughter is a random side character in this. Her and her husband just go away, and the husband says these people turn up because they're in a caravan site by themselves. Anyway, this guy says, definitely the last thing you should really say before you get killed is, hey, what are you doing with that gun? Which is like, that's awesome. What else are you going to be doing with a gun? It's so stupid. It's just
I liked the bit where I can't remember who it was. It might have been that couple, actually, the daughter, but they were slagging off, like they were saying, unhealthy choices in life, like nuclear energy and Coca-Cola. I was like, oh, this and Coca-Cola, it's not quite in the same league as nuclear energy, really.
No, I mean, Coca-Cola is not exactly healthy. I mean, nuclear energy is, now, I equate this to like Troll 2. Not maybe the best film to kind of compare with, but Troll 2 is basically, it's kind of anti-vegetarian propaganda. Yeah. And this is like, well, vegetarianism is not, whatever. I think being a vegan or a vegetarian, as you can speak for your own experience, and
I am vegan, yes.
Yes, it's actually, pretty good. There's nothing really wrong with it. And nuclear power is actually surprisingly safe. Yeah. But obviously, Mr. Lindsay was not having any of that.
No. There's that bit where Anna goes to get provisions from the gas station. And she's basically there. I think she's getting water, but then she's just like raiding the whiskey. It's like, God, everyone in these Italian films just loves alcohol. Like any excuse that like, oof, I'm going to get a stiff drink because this is a bit difficult.
The world.
Yeah. They're like always topping. I'm so sober. It's like they're just always topping up their glass. They've got a little hip flask tucked away. Like, what's the obsession? I liked that bit where they all piled out of a van. All the sort of.
It's like coming out of a clown car.
They just kept rolling out. Yeah, it was like, holy shit.
It is basically like the plane scene at the start. It's like, fucking, how many of them are there? And like, there's a lot about this film that doesn't really make sense if you think about it for more than a minute. Yeah. But, like, how are all these infected people on a plane and they didn't kill the pilot?
Yeah, and then so they go to the church, which makes sense because
Yeah.
she's like, she talks about vampires. She's like, oh, vampires can't. It's like, okay, vampires. So we haven't mentioned that yet, but all right. And the priest is taken, by the radioactiveness, which was a pretty cool reveal. Quite like that. And then this epic set piece where it was like a fairground, and there's like these quote unquote zombies, radioactive people climbing up the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Climbing up the frame of the roller coaster, should I say.
Yes.
And then like shooting off the mutant heads, which I said was like the close up with the prosthetics, like prosthetic heads was pretty cool. So there's like at least 3 of those where the head explodes. Quite liked that bit.
Yeah, I thought you would, which is a nice little segue. So you are the Unalive Scribe.
I am.
After all. And there are many, 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 many dead people in this film.
Yeah.
And before we watched it, I did kind of feel very sorry for you because you have to somehow try and keep track of all of this derangement, very fast cutting as, people and kind of infected people. Are they dying? Anyway, so how many did you get?
So, yeah, I'm back with the kill count, and I have a feeling that I think Greg set me up with this film, actually, because...
blame the DPP. It's their fault. They put it on this list.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, I'm going to say, I quit the body count. I've quit. Retired. I'll be back next episode for that. No. 12 million. That is like a League of Gentlemen joke if anybody watches it. 12 million deaths in this film. Too many. Didn't count them. Sorry. It is an onslaught. I would have been there all day freeze framing to see how many deaths there were. So let's just say fuckloads of deaths.
Fuckloads of deaths.
That's it, yeah.
Now, on IMDb, it does actually say there are over 160 people.
Wow.
So that's a lot.
Okay. Well, let's go with 160 or 12 million.
Although, now, we normally warn people about spoilers on this show because, look, we're not coy with this stuff. We want to talk about the whole film. If you want to watch the film and then come back and listen to this, please do. There is a very, very key spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
That
I should have said that up front, really. Yeah, we are uncensored, we are spoilerific, and we do swear. So, probably not a family-friendly podcast.
Well, yeah. And why would you want to be family-friendly? Exactly. But there is a very, very massive spoiler that I now need to give, which if you do know it, cool, you know what I'm about to say. And if you don't, what I'm about to say may kill your potential enjoyment of the film. So please go away.
Fast forward 5 minutes.
Yeah, fast forward maybe 5 or 10 minutes. So this is all a dream, basically. So Dean and Anna, like they're being kind of taken off by the helicopter. Anna falls off the rope because she's useless. Basically, the film just presents her as completely incapable of climbing a rope.
Or holding on. I mean, she climbs it. She doesn't hold on.
Yeah.
And it's, to be honest, it's pretty brutal, that scene. Even though it's quite obviously a fake dummy.
It's very obviously a dummy.
But it's like the notion of it is like, holy shit.
Yes.
She hits every rung of that roller coaster
on
the way down.
It's very, very brutal.
Yeah.
But then it turns out that the whole film has in fact been a dream. Dean has been dreaming everything that we've seen, which is very curious for a number of reasons. So, to be honest, body count wise, you could say the body count is 0 because no one's actually died. It's all a dream.
Well, there is that. So when I saw that plot twist, because this is the first time that I've actually watched this, like today, I was like, oh, God, not that old cliche twist. Yeah. It's so like, it was done to death when people realised that you could do that. Like, oh, it's all a dream.
It comes back to like Wizard of Oz, or even like before that, I think there's silent films where that's the twist at the end. Like it's all in someone's head. Or
it's such a cop-out that it's like, oh, we're tired of that now. But then actually I thought this is actually quite clever because the whole thing just loops back around, and where they started it is where it finishes. So I was like, I actually quite like it because you could just keep watching it forever and ever if you wanted to.
If you wanted to, yeah.
Yeah.
Although the reason for the ending, again, this is according to IMDb, quote my sources, so this could be bullshit, but apparently the reason that they chose that as the ending is because essentially they'd ran out of money. Oh. And they didn't know how to end the film, and so they thought, fuck it, we'll just do it as a dream.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. So, yeah, obviously, look, if you watch the film, the fact that apparently it's a dream doesn't make a lot of sense because there are various scenes from other characters' point of views.
Yeah.
So is Dean like, so when it's the general is talking to, the other military people, or when it's Sheila at home with her husband, or when it's all the general's daughter with her husband, like, is he dreaming all that stuff as well? It doesn't really add up, does it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a cop-out, isn't it? But it's quite a good film. Like, I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. I liked it on the whole. I think it's one of the better ones that we've covered for a while. Like, I know we're freshly back, but of all the video nasties that we've covered,
Sorry, Eaten Alive.
it rates quite high.
Yeah.
On the fun factor, it rates quite high.
Yeah, and I would say, kind of just to round the film off, I mean, yeah, I enjoy it. It's a fun watch. It's batshit mental.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you can't possibly get bored watching this, which I think if you're going to watch a film that's not, super high grade, like 10 out of 10, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
awards contender type film. Yeah, you may as well watch a film that's just completely crazy and there's like a million things going on. And like, yeah, people do things that don't really make sense.
It made me laugh. It
made me laugh as well, because
it shocked me. I forgot. It surprised me. What more do you want from a movie?
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, sort of the makeup effects aren't great. It's different, I guess, even if it's not a quote-unquote proper zombie film or whatever, even if you're kind of saying, well, look, they're not really zombies, it's still quite fun and it's interesting, like, I guess, in that regard.
Yeah. It's quite unique, really, as a concept, the whole radioactive thing, because it doesn't feel like a zombie movie to me, but yeah, it still feels like there's not a lot of movies that cover that sort of area.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, I do kind of recommend it. I say, look, it's not the best film I've ever seen in my life, but I mean, Quentin Tarantino enjoys it, like I said. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a fun one. Just, yeah, don't expect it to like make a lot of sense in places. Mm-hmm. So as we always ask on these shows, because it's a video nasty show and it's a section 3 show, we're going to ask, should this film have been a video nasty at all? And if so, should it have been a section 2 or a section 3?
I'm going to go with yes, and I'm going to go with that it was well placed in section 3, because I think it's more because of some nudity and tiny bit of gore, blood and gore. But yeah, mostly for the sort of boobs and the boob cutting. I think section 3 is quite apt. What do you think?
I mean, I'm kind of, as you know, I'm kind of nonplussed with a lot of this stuff. Like, unlike the last show where it's like, yeah, I can see that being a video nasty. I think with these two films, it's a bit more kind of unclear. Like, I personally wouldn't say it is, but I can see why it was a section 3, if that makes sense. Just because, yeah, you do have kind of blood on boobs, which is a big no-no with the BBFC kind of back in the day. And yeah, you do have women like having their breasts cut open, and it's very gory.
Yeah.
And it's violent. Now, to me, you say, look, that's no big deal. But I guess to other people it is. So, yeah, sure. I can kind of understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, sort of a fun one. And if you want to own it, be that you want to watch it on streaming, you want to watch it on physical media, you've got several options. So if you are a Prime Video member in the UK or America, apparently it's available on there. So if you have a subscription, you can watch that. You can buy it on Apple TV in most places. If you are in America, you can buy it on Amazon Video. And if you are a member of Canopy or Mama2, I think that's how you say that, you can watch it for free. If you're in Canada, you can watch it on Crunchyroll. Oh. So it's available in quite a few different places. If you want to own it, like actually touch it with your hands, physical media, you've actually got a couple of options. So in America, it's available via Raro Video, and in the UK, it's available through Arrow on Blu-ray. But both of those are region free. So you can actually get either and be able to watch it.
Yeah, I love Arrow.
Yes, I like Arrow too. I own many of their kind of physical Blu-rays and all that type of stuff. So yeah, so worth owning if you're into your zombie films, even though, like I said, it's not technically a zombie film.
Yeah, that was a good one. I enjoyed.
And the next film we're going to talk about is also a little bit kind of, is it a zombie film? Is it not a zombie film? And that is a film called Zombie Holocaust.
Mhm.
Also goes by the amazing alternative title of Dr. Butcher MD, which is great. Now, I'll come back to that in a sec. It is also known as Zombie Free in
Mm.
places, which, given what people know about the film, is quite, will make sense. Now, the Dr. Butcher MD thing, whereas with a lot of these films, they just have alternative titles for no reason, this is the same film. Dr. Butcher MD is a different cut from Zombie Holocaust. So Dr. Butcher MD is the name it was given in America, and it has a few minutes cut out, but it's not gore, it's exposition.
Mm.
So it might actually be a good thing for the film. It might help the pacing somewhat. And this also came out in 1980 and is directed by Marino Girolami, although in the version that we watched, he is credited as Frank Martin.
Okay.
And Rhea, what's the synopsis?
Well, I mean, the old title, the MD one is quite apt, really, because there is a mad doctor in it, right? So, I have the synopsis. So, members of an expedition in the East Indies encounter not only the cannibals they were looking for, but also an evil scientist and his zombie army. I mean, we use the term zombie loosely. Again, it does seem a little bit like maybe Asda Smart Price cannibals to me. But for those American listeners, I mean Walmart, not Asda, but we call it Asda here, whatever. Own label cannibals, cheap versions, cheap knockoffs.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one because if you don't know anything about the film, you haven't seen it, you go, Zombie Holocaust. So it's zombie flesh eaters and cannibal Holocaust mixed together in one film. So first of all, what are your thoughts on the film having cannibals and zombies in it? 2 for the price of 1.
I'm not sure it really worked. It did feel a little bit like it had been kind of plonked in there after they'd written the original script. It's like almost it was going to be a cannibal movie and then they changed it. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, I get that. It does feel kind of like 2 different films where, they've been kind of spliced together,
Yeah, and there's some funky music and the sort of quote unquote zombies when they appear. It is a little bit surprising. They sort of got cakey grey face, cake face. So cake face zombies, interesting.
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one because it has some cliches of cannibal films. So, for example, you have a character who is an anthropologist and you have a guide. And you've got sort of cannibals who are doing the whole gut munching thing, but there's no animal cruelty. So that is kind of one good thing I'd say about this in terms of, it's a cannibal film, but it doesn't have all the cliches of a cannibal film.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely got the sort of obligatory nudity, like the sort of hot blonde voyeuristic, like getting changed scene, which is usually completely unnecessary.
It's very unnecessary.
They've got it.
I laughed because I'm like, what is the point of this?
What is the point of this? Is to just get the ratings up and show the nudity. I think it's like, the bit for the boys, but I mean, 10 out of 10 for the decor in the background when she was getting changed.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
She did have a great wardrobe as well, so I was kind of loving that the lampshade matched the wallpaper perfectly, like 10 out of 10 for that. It was like very cool, like green and pink 70s decor, so I was like appreciating that and not really watching the nudity because it's like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, that one scene, yes, it does feature someone basically taking all their clothes off except their underwear. But whoever styled that room, they did a great job because, the wallpaper, if it was wallpaper, and the chair matched perfectly. And there was other furniture that matched the carpet as well. It was like styled really well. So
also, this film was great because, again, the music was like really cheesy again. And like every time something surprising happened, it went wow, 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 like that or something similar to that noise. It was like I can't explain it. It was like a synthesizer noise.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. It's not as good as the music in the last film, I'll say that.
Still decent though. Made me laugh a lot, this movie.
There are... I would say Nightmare City kind of made me laugh more because there's more like outrageous stuff. But there's a few things that kind of don't really make a lot of sense in this film that you can kind of laugh at just for like absurdity reasons.
Yeah.
So throughout the film, this cannibal tribe, they have a symbol that they have tattooed on people.
The keto tribe.
Yeah, it just looks like an envelope that's been turned on its side.
Yeah.
It just looks bizarre. It looks like sort of symbol you'd get if you received an email on an app.
You've got mail.
Yeah, it just looked bizarre, kind of like that. My favourite part of the film, by far, this is the best thing. Maybe it was the best thing in both films, actually, is... So, just to give context, so the start of this film is in New York, because of course it is.
Of course. Italians love to shoot a film in New York.
They love it. This is a perfect example of that. So even though most of the film doesn't even take place in New York, it'll start in New York. So the first 20 minutes will be there. And you've got someone cutting off bits of people's dead bodies, basically.
Yeah. So I couldn't even count this in the death count because most of them are dead already at the beginning. It's like, oh, these people are already dead.
Yeah. So at the start, you've got someone cutting off someone's hand with a knife, which doesn't make sense, would take literally maybe half an hour, if not longer, to do this. It's ridiculous. Or like removing someone's heart, who apparently don't have a breastplate. They literally can just open it and just take it out.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. They find out the person who does this very quickly. Yeah. And this person, their reaction to being caught is to jump out the window. Yeah. Literally jump through a glass window and fall feet and many, many, many stories to the floor. Again, another dummy.
And then he's still conscious and he speaks. And it's like, what? And then I was like, oh, shall I put him on the death count? Oh, wait, no, he's still alive. Oh, no, wait, now I think he's dead. So he just like stayed alive just to say one line, I think.
Yeah, which is
That's
amazing.
Brilliant. There was also like a really funny quote that I saw sort of near the beginning of the movie where she's in a cab and she's going to a restaurant and it's with like the professor guy, like the head guy. And he's like, oh, where are you going for lunch? And he says, oh, I thought you were into macrobiotics and vegetarian foods. And they pull up outside this place and you think it's going to be something really grand or maybe like steak restaurant or something. And it's La Crepe restaurant. It's a creperie. And creperie is not even spelt right. It's spelt creprie. So I don't know if that restaurant was real and existing or whether they just put the sign up. But she's like, oh, well, I am sometimes into macrobiotics and vegetarian foods, but I just thought I'd spoil myself today. So she's spoiling herself with a crepe. Okay.
Crepe, clearly,
all right then. Yeah. Go
so
on with your bad self.
So that character is Laurie Ridgway, who's played by Alexandra Deli-Colli, who is most well known for being in New York Ripper by Lucio Fulci, which actually came out a couple of years after this.
Nice.
And she is essentially there just because she's attractive and she gets naked a couple of times in the film. She's just, yeah, her character is really very badly served by this film because if you look at this character on paper, she has done a degree not only in medicine, but also in anthropology. So she's done 2 degrees.
So she's a really smart lady.
Yeah.
And she spends most of the film getting undressed. So.
Basically. And like when they actually do, so the characters basically, there's 4 characters. They go into this island, which presumably is in the Caribbean, but it's not really mega clear where it's meant to be. You'd think, like, as an anthropologist, you'd think she would be the one taking the lead, kind of explaining, oh, this is what this is. And, like, she'd be the one kind of giving exposition. But once they get to the island, she doesn't really do anything.
She doesn't really do a lot. And especially when there's this part where they get to the island and she's like, oh, it brings back memories. I used to live here as a child. It's like, what? What a coincidence. Random. And the other bit of like backstory is like when they go to her apartment, something gets stolen from the wall and it's like a ceremonial knife for human sacrifice, which she makes sure she tells them. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, why don't you just make that point more obvious? And it's like, oh, that's your decor for your apartment. It's like these days people have the crappy live, love, laugh sign. But, you know, back then in the 70s, she clearly was opting for a ceremonial human sacrifice dagger.
She's a colonizer, clearly. She's like stolen these artifacts from these poor people and like got them like as decoration on the walls of her apartment.
Also, like the character names being, it's when George and Susan get introduced. It was really making me laugh because it's such a British names. It's like Rod, Jane and Freddie, you know, George and Susan. Mm-hmm. Who else is going to be there? Zippy? I mean, I don't know.
I would love Zippy to turn Oh, hello. We're going to an island, are we? That'd be great. Susan was my favourite character in the whole film. She had some cracking lines. She reminded me of a young Diane Keaton as well, which is not a bad thing at all. But yeah, her character is so, like, she's not really in the film enough, but like when she talked, it was hilarious.
Yeah. Did they, like, when they get to the island, did they lie about who she was? Because they introduced her as Kelly and they said she's keeping a diary of the expedition. But she's a journalist and she's supposed to be reporting.
Her surname is Kelly. So she's Susan Kelly is her name.
I see.
Yeah.
So they didn't say she was a journalist. They said she's keeping a diary.
It's so weird. It's an interesting thing you brought up there, actually, because the person who is ostensibly, I think, well, at the start of the film is presented as the main character, who is Laurie. But then after about 20 minutes, she then takes back seat. And the main character is then Ian McCulloch's character, who is Dr. Peter Chandler, who is a doctor, but he doesn't do any doctorly stuff. Like, it's not really clear what he even does and why he's so interested in this, because he's not an anthropologist.
Yeah.
He's not a journalist. Yeah. And he's not a policeman. So is he just someone who works at the hospital?
I don't know. I thought he was like a
so bizarre
professor or something, but he just seems to be the man in charge, doesn't he? He's like the head guy.
And
it's
like,
weird.
He spends most of the film just looking annoyed.
Yeah.
He just doesn't really have any character at all. He just looks miserable the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. I didn't understand who he was either. But that bit with the sort of maggoty head in the bed with the real maggots, that was pretty cool. I was like quite... decent effect.
Yeah, so the one good thing I would say is a major plus of the film, and also if you're going to watch it, I think the reason to watch it is the gore effects. I would say the gore effects are actually really good for a movie of what is probably not a huge budget. Like there's some really gnarly kind of like gore scenes and deaths in this.
Yeah.
The best death scene by far takes place on the beach.
Oh, that bit was good.
I'll let you describe that.
Oh, well, they're starting up the boat and the motor's been overheating, and I think there's two, motors, and one of them he managed to detach in his hand. So the motor's, whizzing round, and he basically pushes it into the sort of zombie, quote-unquote, head. And so basically he motorboated the zombie, which I thought was awesome. But yeah, that was like... You just want to applaud that bit. It's actually fantastic.
The best bit by far. Because, there's a lot of gore in this film, and the gore generally looks really good. It's very effective. And, it looks awesome, I would say. Yeah, there's lots of gut munching. It is effective. There's some sort of close-ups of the savages. It's sort of the savages versus these cakey face zombie types. Yeah. Which are quite demonic. And actually, when they first walk on and the savages run the other way, it's quite eerie. It is quite, scary, sort of the groaning and the... Although that noise is hilarious. Because it's just,
Yeah.
Loads of reverb on it. And literally, that's all they did for about a minute. It was just, so funny. The savages always, the savages just run off. And, there's some quite funny quotes. Like you said, Susan does some good ones. So she says at one point, I didn't come here for a romp in the bushes. I got that one written down.
That's so funny. And there's one bit where I think it's George, he says, about the savages. He's like, they might just want to talk. It's like, well, they don't look like they want to talk.
I love quotes like that. It's like the quote from the last film as well, where it's like people are just so oblivious. Yeah. That's absurd. I love it.
And there's one bit where they find the natives are one of them's murdered, and I think George goes, bury your friend and be quick about it. It's just like, prizes for empathy here. Jesus Christ, let them mourn.
Yeah. So one of the interesting things about this film, so I mentioned Ian McCulloch is in this film. He's obviously best known for being in Zombie Flesh Eaters. Yeah. And he's in Contamination as well. I think his role in Contamination is quite underrated because he has some amazing lines in that film. Yeah. So he wasn't in that many films. He's also in this. This was filmed at the same time as Zombie Flesh Eaters. So if you remember when they arrive at the island, they skip all the flying bits. Like they're in New York and then suddenly they're driving on this island. Yeah. It looks like the same island as the one from Zombie Flesh Eaters.
It does, yeah, it does.
So which suggests it was the same one.
Yeah.
And he's not the only person who is also in Zombie Flesh Eaters. So the guide, who's Mulatto, he's played by an actor who's only known as Dakar.
Yeah.
But he is in Zombie Flesh Eaters as well. He's the guy who's there just to give the kind of speech about, when hell is full and the dead will come back to life and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's pretty cool, to be honest. And like his on-screen character has one name, no surname, and so does his actor name, in real life. So pretty cool. He must be quite iconic. He's giving iconic vibes.
Oh, yeah. He's, again, I think he's used more in this film, I would say. Like, he's given more kind of stuff to do.
Yeah.
You mentioned, like, right at the start, the zombies, they're not the living dead, essentially. I mean, they kind of are, but they're not really. These are more, again, tied into, like, sort of, it's not voodoo, but it's the same kind of vibe.
Yeah, it does give, like, a voodoo, sort of possessed voodoo vibe, like demonic. But they're shuffling. If they are a zombie, they're shuffling slow zombies, so...
Yeah, because the idea, I believe, is that the mad scientist, there's always a mad scientist in one of these types of films. It's the same in Zombie Flesh Eaters as well, in fairness. But like, you've got a mad scientist, he's transferring the brain of a living person into a cadaver to create a living dead person, as you do, who will then serve him, basically, as his minions, although they don't turn other people into zombies, so it's not really a zombie in that way.
Yeah, they're sort of, it really tickled me that the voodoo sort of zombies that were shuffling in had sandals on.
You've got to protect your feet, it's not comfortable.
Wandering around the jungle with like, bare feet when you're a possessed voodoo demon.
Yeah.
The other gory bits, that bit where George had his eyes poked in.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the other bit where sort of, like you were saying, that last sort of third of the film where it's like the mad doctor, scientist, and he sort of scalps people to like, that bit's quite scary. Like the zombie Susan, when she turns to a zombie, that was quite eerie as well.
Yeah, because it didn't look like she had like a skull cap on or anything. It looked like she'd actually had her head shaved.
Yeah.
For like that bit. It looked
and
pretty
it was
realistic.
like really bloody, and then they sort of pull off the top layer, which probably a wig, but it does look quite realistic. But then like Laurie, so that's the one that's on the kind of rock slab.
Yes.
So she gets put on that slab and then they do their ceremony and she's completely naked and it's quite worrying. It's like, what the fuck are they going to do? And then at the end, she's just totally fine.
Yeah, so this is another thing that doesn't, I don't know, it just kind of feels like the plot's kind of being made up as it goes along. Like, it kind of felt like, okay, we've got a general story where you've got a bunch of people, they need to go to this island, there's a mad doctor, he's creating zombies, if you want to call them that, and there are cannibals as well. And then it's like, okay, we need to think of other things to do as well. It's like, with Nightmare City, you can kind of say, okay, well, you've got a lot of subplots going on. Whether they really added a lot to the film, you could argue, but they were at least there. It kind of felt like there's a lot of padding in this film. Like, and that scene, as cool as it is, first of all, it's a bit of a rip-off of a similar scene from Mountain of the Cannibal God.
Yeah.
It's just taken from that. You've got a woman, she's naked, she's covered in, like, body paint, and then they're going to do something to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like... Yeah, you said, like, they put her on this rock and there's an indent of, like, a woman's body, like, on the rock. And her body must fit this perfectly and it starts moving.
Yeah.
And then they just start kind of like, oh, I guess you must be the chosen one.
Yeah.
And then they just decide to kind of follow her. And that's when they save, like, that's why they turn against the doctor at the end.
Oh,
seems very out of place. They don't really explain it very well. It's only because I've watched this twice, because a lot of this film doesn't really make a lot of sense. You kind of need to sit down and go, okay, so why is this guy kind of cutting out people's hearts in New York? Like, why are they even doing that in the first place?
Didn't she have one in her fridge at the beginning?
Yeah, that's another thing as well.
Weird.
It's like, is that heart in her fridge?
Yeah.
Because I thought what was going to happen is it was going to turn out that she's actually like some spy who's like secretly working for this tribe and who's, doing all the, spoiler for Night School, but like there is a similar plot device in that where it's like, oh, it's actually someone doing like a covert operation. But no, It's not
I
that
thought
at all.
that's what it was going to be, and it had the typical bow wow wow on it. You know, it's like,
noise.
well, you know, the heart's there, the bow wow noise is there,
And the bow wows there.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I did wonder why the savages. I just thought the savages thought, well, we've had enough of this psycho scientist, and they decided to turn. But now I realise that her fitting into that slab of rock so perfectly was the reason. Okay,
I mean, it makes less sense though. If like the doctor had just been mistreating them and they just had enough, that would have actually made more sense.
I like that idea more. They'd be like, fuck it, like we're just going to revolt. So they're quite agile. They like leap in through all the windows in their loincloths and they like overturn the scientist and attack him and eat him, and then they burn the fucking village down.
And then it just ends.
Yeah, pretty decent ending, really.
Yeah, it's all right.
Not bad.
It's, you know, very similar to the ending as Zombie Flesh Eaters. Just, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, before we do our unalived people and all that kind of good stuff, so this is an interesting one. I would say this is a film you'd only watch if you were a gorehound.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really kind of work as like a quote-unquote film that you watch because you want to kind of, you know, want to watch something kind of that's fun.
Mm.
Like, there are fun bits in it, but a lot of it's quite slow. It's not paced very well. It's lit kind of quite flatly.
Yeah.
I just found it just doesn't look very interesting. That's why, like, her room in her apartment, that kind of stood out. I was like, fuck, they actually took the time to kind of, like, you know, work that out.
Yeah.
For that look cool. But yeah, if you like kind of people getting their guts ripped out and people's heads getting smashed in with like a propeller.
That was the best bit.
And people's eyes getting ripped out. Yeah, watch it. You'll have a grand old time, but just don't expect to enjoy a good film.
Yeah, I mean, it was fairly entertaining. I didn't hate it. It made me laugh in places. There's quite a lot of exposition, so.
Yeah, just a lot of like stuff just going on for no reason really. Were the deaths easier to count in this film?
Oh, much easier. I mean, there wasn't 160.
No.
Definitely not.
Imagine if there was.
So I've counted 13 deaths. Now, bear in mind, this film starts with a lot of dead people because we're in a morgue. So the people are already dead, so I'm not counting those. And if we count the maggoty head that's in bed as a dead person, which I'm not sure where that came from, it's not explained, that makes 13. If we don't count maggoty head in the bed, that's 12. So yeah, it's quite high on the death count. This is, I'm not going to detail them all, but it's a mixture of like the savages, villagers, like the guide, and sort of the zombie, quote unquote zombies, like the shuffling, you know, demonic zombies, especially the motorboated one.
Yeah, and Susan. I was kind of a bit annoyed when she died because, as I say, she was the only character I liked.
Yeah, it was sad.
And the doctor as well.
Yeah.
Our mad doctor. Our Dr. Butch MD.
He's the last one to die at the end. He would be number 13. So, yeah.
Cool. Even though I did not enjoy this film that much, as I said, look, it's not without its merits. If you do, in fact, want to watch it yourself, then you've got a few different options. Not quite as many as Nightmare City. Again, apparently it's on Prime Video. So if you have a Prime Video subscription, it'll probably be on there. If you are in America, you can pay for it, $1.99 to view it on Amazon Video. Apparently it's available for free on Plex and Foursome. Whatever Foursome is, I've never heard of that one. Again, if you're in Canada, it's available on Crunchyroll. And if you want to buy it yourself on Blu-ray or 4K, it's available in America from Severin and in the UK from 88 Films. And again, those are all region free, so it doesn't really matter where you are in the world. You know, they have versions available now if you want to own it yourself.
Excellent.
Cool. And so that is the show. I want to thank Ria very much, as always, for joining me to talk about our Italian zombie movies. Did you enjoy yourself?
I did. These two films were a blast to watch, especially Nightmare City. You know, it's an easy watch, popcorn movie. If you have a spare evening, you would get a kick out of seeing it if you're a horror fan, I think.
Now, having watched these two, would you be up for watching some more Italian zombie films with actual zombies in this time? Not, oh, they're a zombie, but they're not really a zombie.
Oh, that sounds good. I think we should, do the sort of deeper dive into the Italian zombies, especially as 28 years later is so fresh on my mind. And without saying too much about Bring It Back, there might be some element of that in it too.
All right. I mean, I suppose the title does kind of give that aspect away. It sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
But yes, there are 2 more Italian zombie films that are not on the Section 3 list, so they're not video nasties, but we could perhaps talk about on the next show. So if you've enjoyed us talking about these Italian zombie movies from the early 80s, there are 2 more that we could talk about on the next show. So stay tuned for those. As always, my name is Greg Knox. If you want to follow me on social media, I am on Instagram as RevXBM. I'm on Twitter X, as you call it. I like that. That's the official name now, is Twitter X, not just X. No, Twitter X.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm on there. I don't really post very much. I'm on Blue Sky. I haven't used that account for years. Really, if you want to follow me from like a film perspective, the best place to do it is on Letterboxd. So I'm on there as Worst Day Movies Ever. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, our favourite thing is probably Letterboxd at the moment. We probably interact the most over that because we just get a lot of joy out of it. So thank you, Letterboxd. So I'm Reoffend on Letterboxd. Our show, because we recently got our new Instagram. So if you'd like to follow us on there, you'll get updates of the latest episodes. At Lament Horror across most platforms, YouTube, any podcast, Apple, Facebook, Instagram. And me personally, I'm on Instagram, Threads, Twitter X, as we say, and that's Ria_Fend, that's Fend. And we'll see you out with some jazzy music from Nightmare City. So hope you enjoy.